You need to understand you cannot think your way out of significant trauma. And hasn't life showed you that? We tried that. We tried that so much and it just didn't work. Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free with true solutions to heal for real from narcissistic abuse and painful relationship patterns. And more than just information to survive, you are granted the tools to thrive. In today's episode, I'm looking forward to sharing the following with you. The common mistakes that can stunt or even completely stop you from healing. Why healing doesn't have to be as long, arduous, and painstaking as you think. The number one thing that you need to understand about true healing, and how to activate the ability to heal for real from narcissistic abuse. Okay, so just before we get started, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and also like this video if you find it helpful. Okay, so let's get started on the ways to not heal. And this is really counterintuitive because you may have believed to talk about what happened to you. So many people will say to you, talk it out, talk it out, talk it out. But the problem is, if you're continually talking it out, it's supplementing inside of you that I'm a victim, that I was wrong, that I was victimized, that terrible things happened to me. And what happens is you actually literally cellularly get addicted on these horrible feelings that your body is so used to producing within yourself, these peptides. And I have talked about peptide addiction, and I really urge you that if you have never looked up my information on peptide addiction, and I'm going to share the link with this video, and that's the link you'll see with this video now, check it out because it is such an important understanding. Also too, learning everything about narcissists is such a huge trap that you can get stuck in. Because again, this is supplementing all of the horrible things that happened, the fact that you don't feel safe and you feel scared and that there are terrible people out there. And it's really compelling. It's actually hugely interesting to get into narcissistic information because it's fascinating. But you can get addicted to that. And every time you're trying to learn more about them, that's the time that you are denying yourself your true thriver healing, which only comes from turning inside with self-love and self-partnering and self-devotion to heal those broken, traumatized parts back to wholeness. And the other thing that can be such a trap to fall into is that you get stuck in a belief that I have to treat my symptoms, which means that I've got complicated post-traumatic stress disorder, which if you've been narcissistically abused, yes, you absolutely have it. And you may be stuck in the belief because people are telling you, you're probably going to have that for life. So now you have to manage it, which means that you may join groups that talk about PTSD, or maybe you get into groups regarding fibromyalgia or adrenal malfunction and all of the things that narcissistic abuse brings, without realizing that if you actually target the trauma in your body and address that at the causation root level and release that and bring in your healing to replace it, that you will actually have no narcissistic abuse symptoms. You see, one of the big problems with our world is that it is focused on how to medicate or have strategies for symptoms without truly healing what's causing the symptoms. Or we look to the outside and we say, well, my symptoms are because of that person. Yes, it brought it on, it activated it, but your symptoms are because of the trauma in your emotional, visceral, subconscious, cellular system that is driving those dis-eases. When you address the trauma, there is no dis-ease. It will melt away and you reset to wholeness. So that trap keeps you separated from that ability to heal that. The reason I know this is because, like so many of you, I certainly wasn't lazy in my therapy. For years, I've been a student of personal development and healing and therapy and workshops and researching and learning. And there were so many times in my life where I thought, I've got all of the knowledge. I know exactly what I should be doing. I know why I'm not doing it. I know where it came from. But yet in those times where I was under pressure and stress, and when cortisol and adrenaline was going off because I was having an inner wound triggered by somebody or something outside of myself, it was like being by a remote watching myself handing my power away and unconsciously staying attached and connected to situations that I know were abusing me and hurting me. And also too, even with all of my knowledge, even of my childhood experiences, after significant abuse experiences, I would catch myself in the loop of obsessive thinking about what happened and why it happened and how it could have been different and why did that person do that? And then I would research and look at the information and get an answer that I thought would stick and give me peace and resolution or even closure. But then I'd be back to thinking it over and over again, and then I would feel defective and broken. I had my answer. I should be all right now. Why aren't I getting better? Why aren't I healing? And I know, because I've been working with so many of you for the last 10 plus years, thousands of people, I know you've been through exactly the same thing. And I know this is big, and I know, like myself, you've been questioning yourself and saying, why isn't this working? I'm an intelligent person. I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm capable. Why can't I stop obsessing about this? Why is it draining me so much that I feel like I can't get out of bed anymore? Why am I so depressed, so anxious, and why am I having panic attacks all of the time? The reason is because there is still trauma stuck inside of you that your brain is trying to manage. So what is that shift that is needed for healing to begin? The shift is understanding how the brain-body connection works, how it actually is. And this is the stuff that we haven't been taught until we went quantum. And what I mean by that is looking at new science, quantum science, new neuroscience, to really understand what the brain-body connection is all about. Because we thought that by thinking, changing our thinking, we could change our somatic, emotional, bodily trauma. We thought the brain controlled the body. It's actually the other way around. It's the body controls the brain. So when we do the work in the body on your emotional, visceral self, then your brain will automatically shift to follow what you feel. How you feel is how you're going to think. How you're programmed is how you're going to think. Who you connect to, how you show up, what your choices are, is to do with how you feel and what your beliefs are, which is a somatic belief system, bodily level. So to heal, you need to understand you cannot think your way out of significant trauma. And hasn't life showed you that? We tried that. We tried that so much and it just didn't work. So to change the way you think, you have to change the way you feel. To change the way you feel, you have to change your trauma. You have to release your trauma and reprogram your trauma with something so much healthier. And you think, well, Melanie, isn't that all to do with my thinking? That is the long, hard, slow way around. That's going to take you a lot of work with affirmations or all sorts of things, which we all did. Affirmations, journaling, etc., etc. There's a much faster way to do it. And I'm going to take you through just a little exercise that's going to really help you understand the difference. I want you to start focusing on how your body feels when you say certain statements. And I want you to say, I think happy. Just sit with that and feel it in your body. And then I want you to say, I feel happy. And just take note of that in your body. And then I want you to say, I think devastated. Feel it in your body. And I want you to say, I feel devastated. Feel that in your body. And I hope you feel the significant difference. Your thinking, the cognitive part of your brain, does not even connect to your visceral, somatic self. It's not the same part of your consciousness. It's not the same part of your connection with yourself. Thinking is up here, feeling is in here. So this is the shift that we're making out of the thinking about our trauma. Because the thinking about your trauma, remember, the brain follows the body, means that you can only think in the range of the trauma. And generally, our thinking about our trauma is how awful it is, how shocking it is, how powerless we feel, how defective we feel, and how somebody else has done this to us. Which grants us no ability to take our power back and change in here to then change the brain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you now be able to access and be with the feeling to do something different about it, to be able to start healing. So what I want you to do, first of all, to help keep you out of your head, because in regard to trauma, in your head is stinking thinking. We don't want to be there. We want to be self-partnered in here. So what I want you to do is I want you to, when you're healing, you need to open your body and breathe. Just open your body and breathe. And then what I want you to do, I want you to set the intention that you're going to connect with something that's been hurting you right now. And I want you to set the intention that you're going to do this with love. And you're going to do this with super presence, which means that you're going to show up for you like you would a child who you adore. And let's just set the intention that you're going to connect with something that feels uncomfortable or painful for you right now, something you would like to heal and help within yourself. And just breathe and body open. And you're going to feel it somewhere in your body. And this is the wisdom of your consciousness. This is where it's really going on. not in your head that is running away with the stinking thinking of the trauma, which beats you up even more. Let's get into our bodies. Body open and breathing. And you will feel it somatically. Maybe it's a funky or a heavy or an anxious feeling in your heart, or in your solar plexus, or in your gut. Maybe it's like a powerless feeling through your arms or in your throat. And I just want you to breathe, body open, stay out of the story. Stay out of the information, because it's only stinking thinking. Just feel it in your body. And then I want you to say to yourself, I bless and accept this feeling. I bless and accept this feeling. And just breathe and have your body open. And then I want you to say to yourself, sweetheart, I love you. You're addressing your inner being. Sweetheart, I love you. I am sending you my love and my healing. And just breathe and keep sending this part of yourself love and healing. And I want you to say to this part of you, I am going to show up for you. We are going to work this out. I know that if I turn inwards to you with my love and devotion, and I come to you with the desire to help you heal, that anything and everything is possible. I adore you. And I am never leaving you again. And I just want you to breathe with body open. And I want you to know that this scared, insecure, traumatized, abused part of you is waiting for you. Is waiting for your love, your devotion, your healing, you showing up and being present. And I promise you with all of my heart, because I've lived it, I used to have complicated post-traumatic stress disorder, agoraphobia. I had a full adrenal breakdown. I had a full psychotic breakdown. I was told that I would never heal unless I had 3 antipsychotics, and that I would actually never heal, that I would only be able to hope to manage my breakdown symptoms, and that I would never function as normal again. That was the diagnosis I had. And I discovered my inner being and my trauma had created such horrific conditions through the abuse, absolutely. But we're not healing because I was disconnected from myself. My inner being was screaming out for me, and I hadn't self-partnered and turned inwards and healed her yet. And when I did, with love and devotion, and with the quantum tools that allowed me to not just heal these conditions, but to actually emerge into a far superior confidence and wholeness and inner solidness than I could ever believe was possible. Now, when I did that, not only were there no conditions left, there was more health and well-being and wholeness than I'd ever believed possible. So I want you to know it's possible, but it starts by you turning inwards with kindness and tenderness. And you don't even have to work it all out and stop trying to work it out logically. I promise you that's not the way to do it. It's by meeting your feelings in your body and working with them there. And that's what I would love to show you more about, how to heal for real. Where you can actually come into a workshop experience with me and go through a quantum freedom healing with me, which teaches you how to turn inwards and feel and hold and load up your traumas, release them cellularly, bring in source, which is your higher self, which has the power to heal what we logically can't. This is what grants you the shift in your somatic, visceral body, which means that once you get that shift, that you dissolve your peptide addictions to more trauma, and your brain synapses wiring gets an immediate shift as well. You may have had those times in your life where you've had an epiphany, and it's not like you've got an idea, you are different. When we heal at the quantum level, that's exactly what happens. It's not just you know how to get better, you've got better. And I can't wait to show you that. So please come into my free workshop with me, which is the 3 keys to thriving after narcissistic abuse, where you'll learn the 3 fundamental keys that are necessary for your true healing. And you can connect with me in that workshop by clicking the link that comes up at the top right of this video. So, as always, I am looking forward to your comments and your questions. And I hope that this has helped you be able to help you and heal. So until the next one, lots of love, and keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Much love. Bye-bye.